Right, so hey everyone and welcome back to another budget photography video. So in 2013, one of Canon's beginner cameras was the Canon 700D. It's now 2021. Is it still any good? Well, in short, if you're just looking for the short answer, you don't really want to bother watching past about 10 seconds, then yeah, it's still a really good camera. So why don't we go over some of its features? So we are working with an 18 megapixel CMOS 1.6 times crop CMOS sensor. So that's a lot of detail in the images. It's a lot of detail. 18 megapixels is a lot. We also have 9 cross type. Yes, they're all cross type AF points and they're pretty good. I mean, it's not the best because it is a beginner camera. I mean, this is the Canon 700D here, and I mean, it's not very quick, but it does eventually focus. Is it going to focus? I don't know. No. We have an ISO sensitivity from 100 to 25,600, which I really wouldn't recommend going that high, but it is nice to know that you can go that high. But as I said, I wouldn't recommend it because this is such a small sensor. This is a 1.6 times crop. So this is meant to be 18 millimeters. I mean, this is actually 28 millimeters, not 18. Yeah, it's a crop camera. But on the lighter side, we do have internal video recording. We have 1080p at 25 and 30 frames per second. Now we do also have 60 FPS, but that is in 720p, so I wouldn't really recommend that. And handling that information, we have the Digit 5 image processor, handling 14-bit processing, which is pretty good. Now, probably one of my favorite features of the Canon 700D is the tilty flippy screen that is, I can't show you, but it's off to this side here. There's a tilty flippy screen, which means that if you want to vlog, then you can. Although I wouldn't really want to vlog with a 18 to 55, I would recommend you go to the 10 to 16 millimeters, just so you can get that wider field of view, so to speak, so you're not like that. Like, hey, how are you? I'm doing, you know, you're not like, yeah, now it's gonna struggle to focus back on me. Kind of like grandma when she tries zoom. You don't want that. Now, one of my other favorite features is the mic input, because it means that you're not just relying on the 2 stereo microphones that you've got on camera, which sound just like this. So this is the mic that I've actually got plugged in, and now this is using the stereo microphone. It has two speakers, one on the left and one on the right. So that's what that sounds like, and they're not very good. Now, you can use the internal microphone, but as I said, I wouldn't really recommend it because they're not the best. You could really just use them for syncing up audio later if you're recording externally, which I would recommend, or use the mic input. Now, there are some downsides to the Canon 700D. While yes, there is a microphone port there, it's not really the best, and I wouldn't really rely on it, but it is there really if you need it. I preferably like to record audio separately if you can, but it's there if you want it. I wish it did have Wi-Fi and NFC so that you can control stuff from your mobile or from a tablet or a computer or something like that. But this is 2013 we're talking about, and they didn't really have that back then. Now, going into the movie mode, while yes, it does have 1080p at 30 and 24 frames per second, it is limited to 12-minute increments, and I'm actually coming up to this 12-minute increment. I'm on 10 minutes right now. Now, the video that you've watched already probably isn't 10 minutes, but I'm coming up to 10 minutes, so I need to stop recording in a few seconds to, you know what, I'm going to do it now. There we go. Now I've got another 10 minutes. So you're not really going to be using this for any, you know, podcast filming if you're looking to film a podcast as well, because you're not going to have that continuous recording. Now, the record limit does get higher. I think it goes up to about half an hour as you go down to like 720 or 480p, which I wouldn't really recommend unless you absolutely needed to have that extra time. Now, yes, it does have 1080p movie recording, as I have already said, but In 2021, most things are going to 4K as the industry standard. Even I upload in 4K. I upscale my footage to 4K. So, which is possible because of how much information is here in this, coming from this camera itself. But the fact that it doesn't have 4K might be a deal breaker for you. For me, it isn't. I don't really care. And to be fair, 1080p is still the standard, but 4K is becoming the standard. In the next few years, it'll probably be like 8K or something like that. Now, you can see this as a negative or a positive, but Canon, unfortunately, has stopped, I repeat, stopped making EF and I think EFS mount lenses, which is the mount that this camera has. But, and here's it's a big but, because of how old the EF and EFS mount is, I mean, EFS isn't as old as EF, but anyway, there is a wide variety of lenses out there. You can pick up a really nice 70 to 200 for a reasonable price nowadays. And good glass will always be better than a new body. So if you're looking to, you know, invest in good camera gear, then get new glass rather than a new body. So that's a good thing because of, you know, because Canon have stopped kind of producing it, the older lenses are becoming cheaper. And I'm thinking about getting a new bit of glass. I don't know yet though. I don't know. Now, probably one of its biggest downsides is not really its fault. It's a DSLR, a digital single lens reflex, which means it has a mirror just like this. Now, most cameras nowadays are going mirrorless, which is perfectly fine. I have nothing against mirrorless. But if you are on a budget, then you probably will be stuck with a DSLR. Nothing wrong with buying a DSLR. There are a lot of professionals that still use DSLRs, like the 1DX Mark III, the 1DX Mark II, and I only know about Canon DSLRs. I don't know about Nikon. There are lots of Nikon lenses and DSLRs and mirrorless cameras out there, and just, yeah. So you will have to factor that in, that it will be inherently bigger than a mirrorless camera because it does have to make space for the mirror. Same as the 5D, this could be a lot smaller, and they are a lot smaller nowadays because they haven't got the mirror. But you can kind of make up for that with a wide variety of lenses. So it's kind of give and take, really. You lose the compactness of a mirrorless camera, but you gain the ability to shoot with lots and lots and lots of different really nice lenses. So, yeah. So in 2021, is the Canon 700D any good? It's simple, yes. It's a great camera. It has its flaws, but if you are looking to buy one and you can get one at a reasonable price, under £400 here in the UK, then I'd recommend getting it. You won't be disappointed. Anyway guys, thanks for joining me in this video, and I'll see you in the next one.